Go ahead, Dan.
Coach, obviously they were able to come back and pull away in the second half. What did you see as the main differences in the second half there?
We didn't come out with the same amount of pop in that third quarter, that second half. They put their foot on the gas, and we allowed shot making or missing to impact our defense, which we know that's not who we are. Whether we're making or missing shots, our defense has to sit down and guard.
Coach, you took Jalen out with about 4:38 remaining in the game. Can you just explain the thought process behind that one?
At the end of the day, I just wanted to sit down and look at a different lineup for a second for the movement, the way the ball. I'm going to go back and look at it honestly. Because of how it was going, our ability to make or miss shots, I just wanted to try to mix things up as much as possible. And I think that's part of what I wanted to do in that moment.
Paolo finished with 22, but he only had 4 in the fourth. What was maybe frustrating him offensively, I guess, late?
I'm not going to get fined. So I'm going to go ahead and say that our ability to attack the basket at a high level, coming off a game where we had 60 points in the paint, and attack the rim and end up shooting 20-plus free throws in the last game. And, tonight it didn't go our way. And I think maybe it got the best of us in that moment. But I think that may play some part of it.
Coach, obviously you have to look at the tape still, but did you notice a difference in the quality of the 3-pointers you were getting in that second half? I think the team was 1 for 16 on threes. Obviously it's tough to win when they're not going down. But.
You have to make shots. Now, mind you, give Dallas credit. They mixed it up. They changed the defense up. The ball got stagnant a little bit, but we got good looks. We got a lot of good looks in that run. And if they don't go in, we just cannot allow it to deflate our defense.
Jamal, at the start of the year, you talked a lot about wanting to see this team grow in their ability to learning how to win games and learning how to play with a lead. In that regard, I know win is always what you want, but what type of learning lesson can they take away from this?
We're going to learn a ton from this. How do you play with the lead? What do you do in those situations that you have to keep your foot on the gas the same way? You got to keep defending, whether you're making or missing shots. And I think that's a big lesson in this, that we got to hang our hat on the defensive end of the floor.
Spoken a lot this year about having to play by committee, 20 assists in the first half. You had to be pleased with that. How do you kind of keep that? Dallas obviously made some changes defensively, shots didn't go down, but how do you keep that kind of zip and that ball movement going? Or how do you emphasize hey, you're frustrated at the end of the game, but so much worked in the first half?
Yeah, you got to stick with what works. You can't get bored with doing the basics. And I think that's the one thing with a group. You have to learn that if it's working, you stick with it. Sure, they make adjustments, but the way that ball can pop and move and go around the perimeter, attack the basket, spray it out for knockdown feet set threes. Again, we allowed the shot making or missing to impact the way in which we got back on defense. And I think that's one thing we have to continue to learn from this, that we can't allow that to impact the way we defend.
Coach, you've had to dig into your depth a little bit in this last couple of games with 4 rotation players out. Now you go to Mexico City on Thursday. Altitude's going to play a factor. What do you think about the depth that you've gotten so far, and do you plan to go even further down the line?
I mean, it's kind of hard to go further down the line when you got 4 guys out. But, we're going to, by committee, we'll figure out a way to get guys in, that can impact the game. And I think that's what this group has shown, and it will continue to show. Listen, this sucks. I don't love it for our guys that we had to go through this, but it's going to be something that we can learn from in the midst of all this. And the guys that step on the court know that they'll be the next man up, and they'll be ready to perform.
Second straight start for Anthony, and what'd you kind of make of his performance? Think he was matched up on Luka what'd you think of his defensive effort on him in those matchups?
I think he did a really good job with his defensive hands. Early on defending without fouling. Got him into the paint. Obviously Luka makes tough shots. He can make some tough assists as well. But I thought for the most part, I think AB did a very good job keeping his chest in front and not allowing blow-bys and then defending without fouling.
Coach, with the injuries, the rotation is obviously affected on both sides of the court. Defensively especially, how is that affected with the rotations having to change?
Well, in our position defense, you have to understand where you're supposed to be. You have to understand who you're guarding with personnel. So again, yes, guys are out, but it's always going to be the fact that if you are on the court, you know exactly what we're supposed to be doing defensively and offensively. They hit tough shots. We missed a ton of shots. Shots that we can normally make, that we take and actually make. So again, you give them credit. We'll go back and look at the film, reset for when we go out to and play Atlanta.
Thank you, Coach Mose.
Thank you, guys.
We'll be back with Cole and
Cole, all season long, you guys have made defense your calling card, regardless of whether or not shots have been going in. In the second half there, do you feel you let that slip a little bit as a group and that the lack of shots going in started to affect the defense?
I think it definitely did. I think we kind of got frustrated with ourselves. We kind of saw them get a little bit of a lead, and we saw a few possessions where it didn't go our way, whether it was a bad call or what we thought was a bad call, or we had a missed shot. And I think we let that affect us on both ends on the court. And we can't let that happen. We gotta be better. Obviously, I think what we go 1 for 16 from 3 the second half. That doesn't help, but we gotta look. They got some superstar players, but we gotta do a better job.
Mo, what do you think this team can take away, learn from this game?
I mean, a lot. Obviously, I'm never the guy that says I need to lose in order to learn, but you can take a lot out of this. The game takes 48 minutes. We're still a very young team. We need to learn how to, keep going, even if we're up, and kind of kill a team, in that second half. And I think today a big part of why we lost our intensity and energy is because we just didn't play smart offensively, turned it over too much and had stagnant possessions, and then that kind of deflates our whole energy.
21 turnovers, sheesh.
Cole, just kind of on that point, 20 assists for the team in the first half. That's the kind of offense that you guys want to play with. Can you put a finger on what Dallas did, or is it just a matter of missing shots and allowing that to affect everything in the second half for why it slowed down?
I think we did obviously miss some shots, but I think we also, as a unit, I think we went to trying to, and me, I think I'm very guilty of this myself, trying to play some hero ball, and we got to stay the course. I think we did some great things in that first half. Obviously, you said 20 assists, a lot of assists in the half, and hitting shots always helps. But we got to be a little better and just not let the missed shots or whatever affect our defense on the other side of the ball.
Cole, Mo, this goes for both of you guys. Once Dallas kind of moved out of that zone defense, you guys were doing a great job of scoring in the paint, really in that first half. Do you guys feel like you guys were trying to go on for a lot of more, I guess, one-on-one matchups in that second half? It feels like they really clamped down a lot.
Is it up?
I thought the question was for you.
I do. I do think that we got a little stagnant. You got to find the right balance. Obviously, when you have great players that can create on their own, you got to use that to your advantage. It's hard to score in this league. So if you have that available, you got to use that. But there's a balance between doing that and moving the ball and having a flow. Everybody having touching the ball, so they play hard on defense as well. It's really hard to guard as well. These players are really good. So you need to have the right energy all the time and have everybody involved. And I think that flow kind of killed us a little bit today.
Look, in order to get where we want to go, we got to figure it out. Every team in the league got great players. We got to just figure that out. We got to be better.
Mo, as they're making that run in the third quarter, what can you guys do defensively to kind of slow them down? Obviously, they got some good players. Everyone's going to make a run, but how do you kind of keep the focus to kind of slow them down and get back into it?
You tell me. I mean, no, to be honest with you, the game wasn't over in the third quarter. I mean, I remember looking up with 5 minutes to go, we were down 2. Those are close games. Like, stuff happens. People adjust to your defense. At the end of the day, this is still a game with great players that find a way to figure it out. And you got to make them work as hard as possible and make it as difficult for them as possible. And sometimes that just doesn't work. But we were still in the game with 5 minutes to go. We can't put our head down. And then that's part of being young as well, to learn from that. And even though we were up, then you're down, and then it feels like you lost already. No, you got to keep fighting. And I think that's something we got to work on. But I'm very positive with this group because it's a lot of competitors. And you can tell this team wants to win and is willing to do anything for that.
We can't hang our heads on that. I think we did that. I think we all were a little guilty of kind of getting a little too frustrated and hanging our heads kind of with 5 minutes left when we were down. I think we had got down to 2 at a point. So we got to do that, and then we can't turn that rock over in the fourth quarter too. That's a big one. We got to make sure that we got to give ourselves a chance to win the game by getting a shot up every single time when it matters, whether it's a we got to put the ball in the rim and give ourselves a chance. And with turnovers, we didn't give ourselves a chance.
Cole, obviously the depth's been tested this first, stretch of the season. You had Caleb out there tonight for the first time with some real rotation minutes. What did you think of his minutes out there, and how do you, as the point guard, the leader of that second unit, adapt to these changes game to game?
Just got to do whatever I can to stay ready and try to affect the game in as many ways as possible. And regardless of who I'm out there with, I think we have several talented dudes on this team, and I think, look, you've seen the last game we threw out AB and Goga, who hadn't really been playing real minutes, and we beat the Lakers. So I think it was just a matter of us just staying ready and throwing the first punch and being able to, after we throw that first punch, maintain that and build off of it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.